Welcome to this SFML tutorial series. Yeah, let's just get into it. So SFML stands for Simple and Fast Multimedia Library. It's pretty cool for making video games in C++, but you can use so many other languages like C#, Python, Ruby, C, Java, C++, etc. So you can use so many. Oh, there's Go as well. That's pretty sick. Anyways, you can use a lot of languages for this SFML. Now it's actually called an API for some reason. I mean, they call it an API, but whatever. So today I'm going to be showing you how to install it and create a window, and that'll be it. The plan for this tutorial series is to make some sort of small game. I'll probably make a separate video on the final output, as I am still working on the final output. Anyways, let's go into it. Now, I'm going to be covering all the operating systems. Let's first start out with Linux, and Linux is probably the easiest one, so let's go. So you can go to Downloads. Now, if you'd like to set up, your project structure yourself, please do follow this. So go to the download section. I'll put it in the description box below. SFML 2.51, or if you're watching this in the future, whatever it is. And if you're on Linux, you just go with this one. You have one option, which is GCC, which is the GNU thing. So yeah, download that, and you'll get some files. I'll just show you actually. Hold on. Let's see here, documents. So this is what you'll get. You'll get an Iinclude folder, which has SFML and all the dependencies you'll need. For example, graphics.hpp, main.hpp, window.hpp. These things are come in this. Everything you'll need, and then lib, you'll get like your .a files and stuff. But I don't really recommend this way because it's really tedious, and you can do it a different way. So there's this way you can install SFML, and you can just use sudo. So sudo apt-get install sfml. Alright, so I forgot what the command was. It's sudo apt-get install lsfml-dev. Now if you run this will install SFML, like the latest version, and it will be like added to your system path, I guess, whatever you call it in Linux. But anyways, run this and you should get SFML installed, and you're good to go. You have SFML installed. Now for those of you who are on like Windows or Mac, if you're on Mac, there's just one download, so just do that. And then I don't really know what Clang is because I don't have a Mac, but I hope you can figure that out yourself. And then there is Windows, and Windows has a lot of options because Windows is Windows. Anyways, so there are two types. If you're using Visual Studio Code, you can try these versions like Visual C++, 2017, etc. These versions. If you're using code blocks, you can use this one. But if you'd like to set it up manually yourself, you can go with the GCC one or the MinGW one. Go with the MinGW one because, these both are actually MinGW. What am I saying? If you want 32-bit, go with 32-bit. If you want 64-bit, go with 64-bit. Download it. As I said, you'll get something like this. You'll just want to copy the Iinclude stuff and the lib stuff into a folder. Now let's go ahead and create a project. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just gonna call this tutorial because it is. Yeah, and I'm just gonna open this in my terminal and go code. That'll open this in Visual Studio Code. I'll trust that, sure. And there we go. We have it opened up. Now let's go ahead and create a source folder, and this is where we'll keep all our C++ files. Then we'll create an Iinclude folder, and this will be for like our custom includes. Now if you're in Windows, you would take this Iinclude folder, copy this sfml folder and then move it into this include folder here. But I'm not gonna do that because we installed it with sudo. Then we're gonna create a bin folder, and this is just this isn't mandatory. You can just keep it here. I like to keep it here for your executable once you've compiled your your C++ game. And I'm gonna create a file called compiler.sh, not sj. Rename this sh. Now, if you're using Windows, you're gonna have to make a MakeFile. So you're gonna create a make like this, capital M and capital F, such as this. And I'm not gonna go through this today, but I'll leave the command in the description box so that you can copy it into your MakeFile. The reason we're just creating these files, I like compiler.sh because I don't like running MakeFiles. It's annoying. But anyways, what I was saying was, what these will be doing is, we're gonna put commands in these, and usually commands to run C++ files use G++, and if you're making a big project, the command will be lengthy. For example, you would go G++ -c main and then main.o -o, and then you'd go something like test, and then you would add all your libraries, and it's really annoying. It can get really long, and you can mess up really easily. So these files are just more organized and more better in general, and you should use them. Anyways, so that's our project set up. Let's go ahead and create our main.cpp file, .cpp, and first of all, let's just include our sfml, so sfml. And as you can see, I'm already getting autocomplete, and that is because I've sudo installed it. If you're not getting autocomplete, by the way, install the C/C++ extension in VSCode, and you should get it. So sfml-graphics.hpp, and that should do it. Now you can see I have no errors, which is good, and which is what we want to see. And I'll just copy some code over real quick. Okay, I'm back with some quick editing. Some of these lines I don't want, such as these, and yeah, that should do it. Now let's go ahead and work with our compiler.sh, and if you're on Linux, I would suggest you follow along. Now, I'm just gonna copy the stuff over because they're quite annoying to type out, and I just don't want this tutorial to be long, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so that was pretty quick. So this is what we're doing. So we're gonna go G++, which is the compiler coming with MinGW. So what we're gonna do is G++ -c. So we're compiling. -c means compile. source/everything.cpp. So every file that has a .cpp at the end, or this .cpp extension, we want to compile those. So that's the first thing we want to do. So this is the compiling part, and then we want to run. So G++ main.o. And if you don't really know much about C++, we need object files to run the compiled game, or the exe, or whatever. And we want to take this object file to create the exe, or executable, and we want to put the executable in our bin folder. So bin/whatever you want. You can name this whatever you want, or I would just call it game. And then you want to include all your things, like your header files. So -i include, and then you want to add all the libraries that you'll be using. So -l sfml-graphics, sfml-window, system, audio, and network. Now, if you don't know if you have these, you can go ahead and check it out. Actually, in my include folder, you can see here that I have graphics, network, audio, window, I already said graphics, didn't I? System. And those are what we're basically specifying. And then after we have done this, after we've created the executable. We just want to run it. So now let's go ahead and see if this works. So I'm just going to say sh compiler.sh, and if we run this, we should have a window, SFML game, with a square in the corner. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain this code real quick. I'll leave the code in the description, like a GitHub or something. And yeah, so first of all, we're including the graphics HPP file, and then we're creating the int main, and then we're creating a render window, which allows us to render things onto the window. And then the window takes 3 parameters: the video mode, which is the size of the window, so 512, width and height, the title of the window, so this thing here, so I just said SFML game, and then the style, which is like if you're allowed to minimize, maximize, close window, and we're just going to go with the default. There are many styles, which we will be talking about in the future. Now, then I'm creating a rectangle, so rectangle shape, and I'm calling it player, and it just takes it actually just takes 1 parameter, which is a vector2, and we're using vector2f, which is a float. There are 3 types of vector2s in SFML: vector2f, vector2i, and then vector2u, which is undeclared integer. The I is the integer, and then the f is the float. And we're just making it 100 pixels wide and 100 pixels, high, or yeah, the length of it. And then we're creating the while loop, which is important for every game. So while the window is opened, we need to get an event class, so sf event. And then we need to get the poll event, which will allow us to check events. You can hover over it to see more about it, but I'm going really fast. So while the poll event is the event, so this event. Next, we're checking for events, and we're using a switch statement. So switch event.type, and if the case is closed, so if we click the close button, then we want to close the window, so window.close. And yeah, then we want to refresh the window so that it's refreshing all the time, so window.clear. And then in here we can actually put a default color, but if we don't specify anything, it'll be black. And then window.draw, we're drawing the player, and then window.display, we are displaying basically everything onto the screen, and then we're returning 0. So that's basically this code. I'll leave the GitHub in the description box below. And if you have any suggestions on like what type of game we should make, please do let me know in the comments, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.